What we're going to tap in today is the invisible work it actually takes to make something come together. So stay tuned for a second. Give me a second to, get everything right so we can go on this journey real quick. Yeah. Toxic. Oh, yeah. If you haven't heard, check out my nephew Saint, bro. He litty out here in these streets. Young boy 19 killing the game right now. Tap in. You feel me? My man Tino Valentino too. At Tino Valentino TV on Instagram. That shit litty. Go check out my homies. They got some good music, good vibes, you feel me? So definitely check it out. Make sure you also check out our From the Mud collection as well too. That is available on our website. And yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay. Yeah, so make sure that you also check out our book From the Mud. It's on all book platforms. Then we also got the spoken word album From the Mud. It's available on all streaming platforms as well too. So make sure you tap in, check it out, show love. You feel me? We got a lot available on our website as well too, as far as content about business, fashion, and apparel too. You feel me? So definitely tap in. We're trying to do big things here at Dreams of Rulers. Make sure that you like and subscribe so that way you can stay tuned to everything that you got going on. We appreciate all of our day ones. And if today's your first day, welcome to the Day One family. Welcome to the royal family, you feel me? So let's get into it. When it comes to, the invisible work, people admire the final, collection or final results of a collection, but they rarely see the thousands of decisions that are made in the process. The invisible work is where great brands are actually built. The work nobody applauds. Now, with every, live stream, we pretty much have a question. That question is the work. Everybody sees the runway. Nobody sees the notebooks, right? So what do you think a fashion designer does all day? How much of the job do people actually see? And when it comes down to it, just from an example of being at a tailoring shop, all we did primarily was sketch designs for a client on in real time. Then, pick out the material with the client. Then hand everything over to the seamstress with measurements as well too. You gotta do the measurements. But then after that, you gotta go back to the lab, look at all the, designs as well too. Because first and foremost, as the seamstress actually puts the design together, the client's gonna have to come back, do revisions, So you pretty much are gonna align all the fabric pieces and materials together so that way it makes the garment. That takes about a week. Then the client comes back, fits it, Then you do the final finishes, take out the pins, Make sure all the seams are tight. make sure everything is all right, you know what I'm saying? And then they come back for a final fitting, and then boom, they have a custom piece. So typically, you know, that's like 10% of the process right there. The other 90 is invisible, like thinking, researching, observing, sketching, editing, you know what I'm saying? Problem solving, revising, communication, learning, you know what I'm saying? All these things is pretty much you using the philosophy, which we talked about last night and, you know, have brought up in multiple streams. But it starts with the philosophy. So, you know, you're going to be thinking about how, you know, your design is going to relate to, you know, the philosophy of the brand. You're going to do the research on the topic of the collection. Then, you know, you might even go a step further and see the different trends and different designs that are out here now. You know what I'm saying? And then you take it a step further and then start sketching. You know what I'm saying? Come up with some solid designs, some pieces that you feel like, you know, actually are winners. Then you edit. Then, you know, you problem solve, which means, you know, typically, you know, do all the extra work where measurements and, you know what I'm saying, pretty much be in the process of making samples. You know what I'm saying? Then once the samples are created, start doing your revisions, and then, you know, start communicating with the world about your designs. And then, you know, the product is visible. The preparation isn't. You feel me? Research before the sketch. Most people believe, you know what I'm saying, the creative process begins with drawings. It really don't. Like I told y'all on one of the live streams about why I chose fashion. I told y'all that, you know what I'm saying, I used to go to the library, Stone Mountain Library in Atlanta back in 2012, 2013. And literally, I would go there every day, walk an hour on the freeway to Stone Mountain Library, fucking stay there for at least like an hour, probably like half the day some days, you know what I'm saying? Study, you know, about my craft, study about, you know, the industry as a whole, fashion business as, you know, in general, and, you know, what made brands successful, what didn't make brands successful, you know what I'm saying? What a good design look like, what a bad design look like, etc. You know what I'm saying? That's where, you know, studying the history of fashion, you know what I'm saying? Doing the solid research before the sketch, understanding the culture, and, you know, looking at architecture is main, you know, some of the main inspirations. Also, some of the, you know what I'm saying, pillars to every design. You know, you have music, film, industrial design, you know what I'm saying, typography, nature, materials, and consumer behavior that all factor in as well too. If you don't feed your creativity, what are you designing from? So I don't know about y'all, but, you know, great designers spend as much time learning as they do creating. You feel me? Because every opportunity is an opportunity to pick up something new. You feel me? Whether it be through, like how we talked about last night, typical people to people not reactions, but interactions, you know what I'm saying? Conversations, you know, linking with different people in different events, environments, you know, music, film, art. It's all types of information, not information, but, you know, inspiration that helps you to become a great designer. It helps you to, from my standpoint and perspective, know what not to design. You feel me? That's how I look at it. Now, the hidden decisions. A customer sees one jacket. The designer sees hundreds of decisions. Walk, you know, walking through this, just looking at it, it's like, it's a lot, you feel me? Because you got these questions that you need to ask yourself through the hidden decisions. Why this silhouette? Why this fabric? Why this stitch? Why this pocket placement? Why even the zipper? Why the color? You know what I'm saying? Why this fit? Why this logo? Why this typography? Why this package? Every decision communicates something. Design isn't one decision. It's thousands of decisions working together. And when you fully grasp that, you'll see your design process evolve. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all pretty much try to put one thing together and then go with it at this point instead of actually revising the work, or you know what I'm saying, you'll copy off of somebody else's base and then try to add in your fill-ins, which is cool, but it's always better. Feel me? Like, it's good to have natural, organic designs, you know what I'm saying? Nothing that anybody has seen before, because at the end of the day, in this new day and age, especially with everything stemming from, digital platforms, it's good to have complete ownership of all your content, products, and, so forth. Even the services too, you feel me? So with all those moving parts in play, you know what I'm saying, these questions are important so that way you know exactly what you're putting together. You understand, all of it is totally yours, and you're not, fighting to actually not only sell, but to actually make solid revenue from each sale. The next thing is editing is the real design process. So, you know what I'm saying? Great designers remove more than they add. There's times where I've literally designed for multiple hours on one design just because it looked good, but there's always like a small piece missing. That was actually in the Views from the Trap collection. I was working on a piece sativa, or actually a poem, and I created some graphic art for that joint. Spent about like 3 days on that design, and turned out pretty fire. Had a nice, mid-skin color chick on that joint, like Indian color. Looked like Rihanna, you know what I'm saying? Had the glasses, shades, hair to the back, pinned up, smoking some weed. Called her Mary Jane. That shit was fire. So that joint took 3 days because I had to find the right colors to match the background along with the apparel she was wearing. And so that it all blended into one, aesthetic. And that's what it, takes sometimes. It takes, going back, revising, a design. Maybe, you design it at first and then, you put it to the side. Then, maybe a day or two, you come back to that joint, after you actually been a couple places, did a couple things, then you're able to actually add to it. You feel me? Eliminating unnecessary, whoa, what's going on here? We don't want to look at the ground, we want to look at me. Funny ass phone. But yeah, eliminating unnecessary details, refining silhouettes, simplifying graphics, you know what I'm saying? Removing distractions. You got to ask yourself, does this strengthen the design? Or does this, fit the philosophy? Or even, is this intentional or just a decoration? You feel me? A collection becomes stronger every time you're willing to let go of a weak idea. Building the brand behind the collection. The invisible work isn't only design. It's also brand strategy, naming, collections. That's why I said, for me personally, when I'm designing a collection, I like to have topics. Because once you have a topic, you can, actually study the word, the origins of the word, align it with something that is alignable with your brand. And then, you can start doing, the design process. But in this specific place, these are just some of the visible works that isn't a part just of the design process. When you own a brand, the brand strategy, naming collections, writing product descriptions, planning, launches, content creation, photography, direction, website improvements, customer emails and packaging, pricing, community building. A fashion house isn't built only in the studio. It's built in every decision surrounding the product. So you got to take every step, every decision in stride, but you also got to, kind of be like 5-10 steps ahead in that process as well too. The invisible work is the only thing that creates the visible results. You feel me? People notice, the awards, sales, recognition, viral moments. They rarely notice the years of consistency, daily discipline, endless revisions, constant learning, quiet mornings, late nights, hundreds of ideas that never made it into, production. But the questions I want you guys to think about tonight as you, ponder over this stream: what invisible work are you doing today that nobody sees? Right now, I'm working on a TV network to help not only my content, but other original Black creators as well too. So, I'm trying to build that up right now, along with the fashion brand. And, we're doing a lot of marketing, brand ambassadorship, sending out packages, each week, trying to, get the right people to wear the clothes, to actually support the brand the right way. Designing the new collection so that way it'll be ready for, a launch and everything. So, it's a process. Would you still pursue your craft if no one applauded the process? Honestly, I chose the craft well before I even thought about somebody applauding the process. All I knew is I could make $1 from it and a living. So I was like, hey, let's get with it. That's why I chose it. I could make a living off that bit. That was my ultimate goal. What part of your work deserves more patience and refinement? Honestly, if I had more time to drop these collections, the designs would be more fire. And, I have more time to actually think about the topics. Really, I can design a whole collection within a day. For real. But if I had like a week, 2 weeks to actually play with that drone, like I'm playing with, Student of the Game right now. Like Student of the Game is like my first collection that I've actually had in the vault. That, the pieces is already kind of put together. I just need to, just revise it for the times. Make sure, some of the typography aligns as well too. But yeah, no. That's just, part of the process as well too. You feel me? The invisible work is where reputation is built. Long before people recognize your name, you're developing your eye, refining your taste, strengthening your discipline and consistency, and making thousands of decisions no one will ever notice. That's the paradox of great design. the better work becomes, the less people see the effort behind it. See what I'm saying? Success isn't created in the spotlight. It's created in the unseen hours when you're, committed to becoming better, even if no one is watching. So, like I said, in a few of the live streams, you gotta act like you in the gym, putting shots up, you feel me? Getting, those reps in for your brand. Because nobody gonna do it for you unless you got employees. And it's better for you to learn early what you want, what you don't want, what your actual signature style is. So that way, once you start to bring in other people, then, and only then, will you actually, be able to delegate and also evolve the process as well too. As long as, you got solid people employed for you. But ultimately, man, I appreciate all the day ones for getting on the live stream with us. You know what I'm saying? If today's your first day, welcome to being a day one. You know what I'm saying? We need all y'all support for real, for real. That's why, I ask for the like and subscribe. Like, I'm not really, doing this, to say that, I'm better than anybody. I genuinely got people that depend on me on a day-to-day basis. Got my little sister who live out in LA, you feel me? She doing big things, but, she need help too, just like anybody. My homies, you know what I'm saying? We all grinding, for what we want, what we believe in. And, you know what I'm saying? We just trying to make a way. And I'm trying to make a way out of no way for everybody. And just tired, you feel me? Tired of working for the bullshit man. Tired of dealing with bullshit ass people here in Philly. Like, honestly, bro, like, thinking about actually moving back to Maryland until I get ready to move to New York. Because niggas here be on some dumb shit. Like, I swear to God. Even the bitches, too. But needless to say, I appreciate all y'all that has been supporting, showing love, feel me? But, yeah, we're going to keep going up. I'm going to catch y'all on the next live tomorrow. Keep visualizing your purpose. Like I always say, put together a solid plan. You know what I'm saying? Do the research like we talked about tonight and execute that motherfucker, and your dreams and goals gonna come to fruition. You already know what it is. Your boy out. Keep visualizing.